In this episode of Moi TV, I'm sharing the 6 steps to building a strong personal brand that I use for myself on my own business, as well as on repeat for some of my clients who want to have an original and strong personal brand. Today, I'm going to walk you through exactly how I do this in my own personal brand so that you've got some working examples to take inspiration from. And if you stick around till the end of this episode, there is a download template that you can take and use to make sure that you're strengthening your own personal brand. My method is to begin always with the 5 themes of you. These are the themes that you can use to create really personal and relatable storylines to help you evoke the importance of your actual business message. My only rule with this is that it has to be 100% authentically true about you, whichever theme you pick. If you fake this bit in any way, the cracks will show really quickly in the way that you're trying to construct your personal brand, and this usually has an effect where people feel a little bit uneasy. They feel like for some reason that they can't quite put their finger on, that they can't trust you, and that has a knock-on effect on your business. The real beauty of having 5 different themes in your personal brand is that you can talk about them in a lot of detail and keep them ebbing and flowing, mix them up all the time. This way, you have the effect of guarding and keeping secure the things about your life that you don't really want to share with the world, even if you do have a personal brand. And this is where a lot of people tell me that they feel really uncomfortable about adopting a personal brand approach. They think that having a personal brand means that you have to start behaving like a reality star and you have to talk about all of the aspects of your life all of the time to the whole world. Now, not only is an approach like that pretty exhausting, it can have a damaging effect on your relationships, and it could potentially create a public relations nightmare if you went into a little bit of too much detail that could be seen as particularly divisive in relation to the news. A personal brand is absolutely supposed to enhance and build your reputation, not damage it. Let's talk about my first theme. My first theme is Suki the Cat. If you join me on Instagram, you will see that Suki the Cat is a regular feature on my feed, and she sometimes pops up in my stories as well. What you need to know is that Suki is the worst employee imaginable, and she's continually having my life by throwing me shade and giving me lots of sass. The next theme in my business is around cocktails. It's true, I absolutely love drinking cocktails and learning how to make new cocktails, but that's just the surface layer. Cocktails as a theme for me in my personal brand celebrates the idea of frivolity, joie de vivre, finding the colour in life. And more importantly, it is a great way for me to explain how I enjoy being creative. So I have an obsession that I've never been able to quite calm down in my professional life, and that's the idea of fusion. So putting weird things together in order to come out with a really creative outcome. That is pretty much how I'm creative in everything, and it never ceases to amuse me and keep me challenged. So I like how that's very similar to mixing a cocktail. So that's what that theme represents for me. My third theme is living a vintage life. So I am an old soul, whether it be that I'm still enchanted with the idea of old school glamour. So I try to use that in the way that I dress and do my hair, put my makeup on. But I'm also really in love with how an old housewife might approach living her life, how she maintains her household, how she uses secret little ways to keep things neat and tidy and organized. I'm also a big believer in giving things a new lease of life. So I'm getting really into upcycling, finding an old piece of furniture, spending all that time bringing it back and making it something fabulous and new again. I cannot get enough of it. My fourth theme is travel and adventure. In 2004 and then again in 2007, I lived the life of a backpacker and I went out and I explored the world. It had a fundamental change on my life and the way that I see the world and understand people from different cultures. Now, as a grown-ass lady, I am still enchanted with wanderlust. I still want to see lots more new places in my lifetime and understand new cultures. But now I prefer a comfy bed with good sheets and a decent bathroom. Theme number 5 is that I am a proud feminist. It's incredibly important to me to play my part in educating our younger generations and trying to explain to some of our older, more stagnant generations the power that females have. It's innate that we have. And if only we could look at things in a fairer way, give women more control in how we do things, I think that that's going to have a fundamental effect on the betterment of all of mankind going into the future. If you want my help to plot out your 5 themes and start getting into building how these storylines might develop in your content, then you should absolutely take a look at this template that I've created for you. Go and take a look at www.laurapearman.com/personal-brand-5-theme-template. The final 6th step is looking at how I am continually talking about these 5 themes in lots of different ways and a lot more detail over time with my followers. Sharing my thoughts and feelings about each of these 5 themes is a great way to make sure that any promotional messaging I'm doing in my business has a real solid personal angle on it. It also opens up a lot of scope to newsjack, and by that I mean giving my tuppence worth when a world event happens that is pertaining to any of my 5 themes, as opposed to me just jumping on the news when it's something to do with photography, branding, being creative, talking about influence. I can actually get really personal about my particular views on the things that I'm more personal about in my content. This is exactly why each of my 5 themes are about me, Laura, in my life as an entrepreneur, as opposed to talking about how I'm a great photographer, how I'm really educated, how I'm really professional and friendly. Everyone else is talking about that, so this is a way to stand out in my own flavor and style. You will notice that I am not talking about my relationship. I keep my family pretty much off of my content, and I try not to get political when it's something other than a female women's issue, because I've noticed that in the last few years, political issues in business have become even more of a hot potato than what they were. Things can escalate rapidly on social media, and I feel like that's a little bit too risky for the way that I want my business to be affected. So when I'm batch creating content, which I'm a big believer in, I use all of these 5 themes in a really zoomed out way to start with. So my favorite social media platform is Instagram. That is where you will find the best version of my content. Everything else is repurposed. And I plan it out like a year, 6 months in advance, and then a quarter in advance, and we schedule a month in advance here at HQ. And at the beginning of each year, or sometimes a 6-month mark, depending on what's happened in the world, I will reassess what's going on for me in my life with each of these 5 themes. So it might be that I can develop a slightly different storyline, talk about things in a slightly different angle, and that means that my social media, albeit being batch created, still feels fresh and it's still completely authentic. Make sure you go and download your copy of my template, and let's get your brand strength flexing together. Don't forget, you've got to leave your profession and what it actually is that you do to make money out of these 5 themes. I do highlight that in the template, but I just feel really strongly about it, so I'm saying it again today. If you've enjoyed this episode of Moi TV today, why don't you go ahead and give me a quick thumbs up. I've been your host, Laura Pearman, and this has been Moi TV. Thank you so much for sticking around with me to the end of this episode. Up next, you're going to absolutely love these episodes. This is me doing personal branding photo shoots for my real life clients. Come and take a look. Mwah. Now, before you go anywhere, don't forget to subscribe. Mwah.